Hey, everybody. Welcome to the morning market briefing, Wednesday, July 1st, 2026, third quarter.
Wet hair don't care.
Wet hair don't care, baby. Coming in hot. Very damp. I think I forgot to put on deodorant.
Nice.
Just an all-time lost track of time morning.
It's good. You're keeping your aluminum levels down.
Yeah.
It's important
exactly.
for your tea.
I know. It matters a lot. Let's talk JOLTS.
So,
a lot of job openings.
Yeah, so yesterday we got the JOLTS, so the job openings report, and it was a surprise beat. The expectation was 2.96 million job openings. And that was down from the last read, which was 7.585. And we came in at 7.594. And everyone's acting like, man, jobs market's so hot. Suddenly there's all these new job openings. But my question is, why were we expecting there were 300,000 jobs added in, or like job openings to be filled or removed in the last month? Because like basically we came in flat. Like if anything, we picked up 140,000 job openings month over month. But we've been hovering kind of around this level for a long time. So my read on this is we are either faking the health of the job market, or we've got job openings that are just posted and not being filled, or the expectation was for more hiring than we actually got. I don't really know how to read this because I don't understand, based on all the data we've gotten, which you could argue is strong. The last non-farm payrolls came in at what, like 182,000 or something, 172. But it was hotter than expected, but not 300,000 jobs. We had Volkswagen announce they're going to lay off 100,000 people worldwide. Oracle's laying off 21,000. Robinhood's making cuts. So like all you hear is that we're firing people.
And yet we're posting more jobs.
And yes, but the expectation, was that jobs were going to be more abundant in the month that we saw all these cuts.
I will say I've always found the JOLTS job opening data, even on a shorter trend. I mean, when we look at initial unemployment claims, which, we kind of get that data every single week, we often will reference, like a 4, 5, 6 week trend of it. Everyone knows how we feel about the official unemployment number. If you've ever listened to the call, we don't think it's reliable. The JOLTS data I've always found unreliable for a totally different subset, because I actually do think historically there have been just lingering posts where there's kind of two things at play. Number one, why is there, let's pretend there's just one. Why is there one job opening? And two, are we sure it's still active?
Yeah, it's either the HR person hasn't taken it down, the amount of money they're willing to pay is too low for anyone to take that job, or they can't find a person to fill that job that meets the requirements.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of caveats to this where I'm always hesitant, when you get these massive trends where it's like, hey, there's so many job openings, like we saw a couple of years ago where it was like 2 job openings per unemployed person. Okay, that's noteworthy. That has some ramification of what's going on in the labor market. We should take note of that and discern what that is. But I think sometimes in isolation, you just get weird numbers.
Yeah.
And people are just not on the ball. I mean, we have 2 job openings at Narwhal. Have they both been posted? Have we interviewed? Like, we're in different stages on both of these things, but in theory, those would be 2 of the same thing that should show up here. But
a lot of them are fake too. I mean, a lot of these are just hired internally. They just put in a posting, or like, our business is so healthy. Yeah. We have all these job postings. We're trying to expand the team. And they're like, all right, yeah, well, you've been promoted and now the job posting is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, we're laying off 100,000, but the good news is I just posted 20,000 jobs.
Yeah. We had to interview an external candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because then we got the ADP numbers this morning, which we'll take it with a grain of salt, but the expectation was for 120,000 new jobs. Last month was 122, came in at 98. So that also makes you wonder.
Not gelling.
Yeah. So where do we put all these pieces together? I think you kind of have to take it as a mosaic and just kind of say pretty unreliable. We'll get non-farm payrolls tomorrow. Expectations for 115,000 jobs, which again last month was a huge one. And despite the fact that we had massive revisions and then massive surprises, and then nobody knows what the jobs number is, the expectation is for the unemployment rate to be, wait for it, 4.3%, as it is as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be.
I mean, it really, it's so frustrating because I just don't know what data we should use, but I don't trust any of it.
Yeah, it hasn't been good in at least 6 years, maybe 7, since I felt like the numbers actually jived with my worldview.
Yeah.
So we'll take that with a grain of salt. I will say the surprise here is
part of me wonders real quick on that point, Tom. Do you think that we have, I don't know what you would call it, but some unintentional bias of doing this podcast every single day, covering every single job number? Like if we didn't pay attention to it and talk about it for 5 or 10 minutes every single week, in some cases every month, in other data point cases, would we be so offended by the jobs data?
No, I think most people who are in an industry take that number and they think this is correct, and then they base a lot of their decisions on that. Especially when
especially those at the Fed.
Yeah, I've spoken on many panels where people are like, well, this is exactly what's happening because that's what I heard on TV and that's what everyone says. And that does not always turn out to be true, because a lot of people in 2021 were like, oh, well, the Fed says that inflation is going to run down to about 2.5% by mid-22. Did that happen? No. The Fed said that they were going to cut or hike 3 times. Did that happen? Yes. And then it happened another 6 times.
Yeah.
So those 3 happened another 6 times. So it's one of those things where like you got to be paying attention, because like there's very easy ways to break from the data and understand that things are different than they seem. I mean, even yesterday we got the I went back to rates here, but we got the housing year over year. Hold. And the data was house price index month over month was expected to be up 0.2. It was down 0.1. And so we're seeing
finally
the home numbers, or the housing numbers start to reflect reality, which is that home prices are not coming down, not going up, especially at a rate that's surpassing inflation. That's just absolute nonsense if you have a brain and 2 eyeballs.
And yet we know that CPI will show it higher.
Yeah, exactly. And so this number, if taken as correct, should necessitate that we should be moving towards cuts, especially when you pair that with the JOLTS number. But what we're seeing is that rates are selling off today. So your guess is as good as mine why people think this data, like if the non-farm payroll that beat was so strong and that necessitated hikes, then why isn't this one being read as a necessitation for cuts? Because we're coming in equally underperforming on a similar piece of data. And you could argue that it might be more accurate because ADP is a private company and not the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but I digress.
Let's talk Kevin Warsh and then DK. I want to get your thoughts on Constellation and Nike, but Kevin Warsh going to take center stage.
Yeah, so he's going to do, we've covered this panel a couple times. I want to say it's happened 2 or 3 times since we've done the call, but there's a big global central bank panel that happens where they get Christine Lagarde, they get Andrew Bailey, and for whatever reason, in addition to whoever the Fed chair is, they get our very favorite special lady, Tiff Macklem, who is a man, who is the central bank head for the Bank of Canada.
Tiff.
So you've got Christine Lagarde, who notably has referred to herself as a man. You have Tiff Macklem, who is a man whose first name is actually Tiffany. And then you've got Kevin Warsh and Andrew Bailey, who I would say are the 2 smart people in the room. So it should be an interesting juxtaposition because, I mean, I think that Kevin Warsh would argue that we need to be in a position where we could be able to cut rates. I think Christine Lagarde, Andrew Bailey are definitely in a hike scenario, but they've got a lot lower growth. They've got a lot higher inflation. But I think that Andrew Bailey is far more in line with Kevin Warsh in that the Bank of England rarely gives a ton of forward guidance. There's often disagreement within the voting, and that's not a big deal. It's not a show of political force or show of I'm standing up for myself. It's people are actually having discussions about what needs to be done. They're, one of the oldest and most successful central banks in the world. Then you've got Tiff Macklem, who just is, I don't even know why they invited him. Canada is an afterthought when it comes to global policy, in my opinion, especially when it comes to finance. But they like to have him tag along. So they have a female.
All disrespect to our boy Tiffany.
Yeah, female representation on the board that also includes Christine Lagarde. But it's going to be interesting because it's going to be, I mean, it's his first appearance on the global stage. It's his first appearance to talk about his thoughts. I'm interested to see how much, how much of the goodies behind the kimono we get to see. If he's going to be tight-lipped and just say, hey, we're task force.
I think
data.
over under 9.5 uses of the word task force.
Yeah, it's going to be up there.
That's where I'd set it. So,
but I think it's going to be interesting, and it's not going to be a lot of glad handing and
what time
pats on the back. That's a great question. It's probably pretty soon because it's in Portugal. So I don't know what time it is there. Call it 5 hours ahead of us, mid-afternoon.
Throw that bad boy on. TK, Constellation Brands, Nike, earnings both down. What are we hearing from these guys?
Oh,
Constellation's
down
up. Is it down now?
I saw them a minute ago. And they were
Constellation was up like 1% this morning, I think. But so Constellation Brands is going to be your provider of all of the cervezas that you know and love.
They're up again. Sorry, they ticked down for just a minute.
Constellation up, Pacifico up, Corona and Modelo not so much.
Pacifico hot in the streets.
I mean, I think it's my favorite. I don't know about you guys.
People have been talking about it a lot lately. Yeah. Victoria, which is one I don't think I've ever had, also showing strong sales.
Yeah, so I think there are a lot of drive from the smaller market segments, and then a lot of weakness in the core markets of Modelo and Corona. I think they've been pushing price a little bit too, down on sales, but up on operating income. But beat the expectations on sales and I think operating income as well. And then on Nike, I think Nike right now is struggling to... The only way they're going to be able to redeem their brand is through some super large CapEx cycle where they're rolling out new products and pushing marketing. I think that's been pushing a lot of pressure on other brands to do the same thing. But I think in the current landscape, they might just be getting their lunch eaten by Adidas. In the World Cup. I think
all day I dream about soccer.
Exactly. I think that from the running perspective, they've been losing too with marathon runners. The winners with setting the new records with the new Adidas version of what was once the Nike special shoe. But pretty solid quarter. But, I mean, it was all driven by tariff refunds. That's the only reason they beat expectations is because no one knew how much tariffs refunds they were getting back.
On scale, when you think of the tariff refund, how would those out there listening that have heard us talk about the tariffs coming, have heard them implemented, have heard them rolled back, and have been like, what's the refund process going to look like? How much did Nike actually get back on the tariff refunds? Do you know?
$1 billion.
Yeah, it was $986 million. Yeah, smoked. Yeah. So call it 1/300th of all of what we raised last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that a lot of Nike's definitely going to be hit some of the hardest out of the bigger companies due to their manufacturing in Vietnam and China. But I think there's a lot of refunds that could be gained too with the manufacturing companies as well.
Yeah.
Like copper and rare earth metals.
There's more coming. All right.
I do have a quick announcement.
Oh.
There's been a lot of fever and excitement for international sport the last couple months. But if you feel like your tea is getting low, you're worried about how much flopping and crying you've been seeing, there is a new Ryder Cup style rugby competition that kicks off on July 4th called the Rugby Nations Championship. So it's Europe versus all. So the format is the 6 major teams in Europe will all each play 3 games against Southern Hemisphere teams over 3 consecutive weekends. And then in November, they'll switch and play the other 3. So it's 6 on 6. So it's England, Scotland, Wales, Italy, France, and Ireland versus Fiji, Japan, Argentina, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. And basically what happens is over the course of those 6 games, the 2 top teams that have the most either points or wins will face off in January. But what's going to happen is, the standings will be 6 teams and 6 teams, Europe versus the Southern Hemisphere. And then on the last day, which I believe is sometime in early December, all 6 teams will play against their opposite on the standings.
Oh, yeah.
And then the total net points will determine who is the stronger, Europe or the Southern Hemisphere in rugby. So July 4th, all day long, there will be rugby. So if you feel like you enjoy manliness and blood sport, but you're kind of thinking, oh, this has been fun to watch international teams play kissy face with each other, there's some real man sports to kick off on July 4th too. So I want to make sure people are aware of that since they're feeling excited about places like Scotland. Scotland has an unbelievable rugby team. They have some of the best skill players in the world, led by Finn. Wait for it, Russell.
Ooh, that's a powerful name. Our boy Freddie, World Cup traveler, deactivated Twitter. Some claims of fraud.
Psyop.
A lot of people saying he acted like he'd never had Raising Cane's before, but he actually had Raising Cane's before.
You telling me that was a paid?
Yeah. So
I bet that dude made a lot of money.
It does seem like it would take a lot to bamboozle people with big brains like J.J. Watt, but it sounds like he's done it. So that kind of ends my following of the World Cup. I don't know. Ben's going to the game today, right?
Yeah.
What time is that?
Noon. Or maybe 1. I'm not sure.
So that'll be interesting.
Known Englishman.
I went to the Braves game last night. There were a lot of clearly European people there. And I just want to say...
Dude, bad haircuts?
And like long jean shorts.
Yeah.
You know? Just want to say, like, America catches a lot of flack. A lot of those people look pretty ridiculous.
I will say, having attended sporting events in foreign countries, they're not great wearers of hats. Like a baseball cap on a European person, like they don't know how to wear it. It's often a weird hat.
It's like a different size.
Yeah. For whatever reason, when I went to the British Open, I was like, no one here knows how to wear a hat correctly. It was very strange and sort of annoying.
Yeah.
So, but one of our great exports. They don't play baseball anywhere else, but they wear the hats.
Yep.
So.
All right. We'll wrap it up there. We'll be back tomorrow. Reminder, no call on Friday. Talk to you guys on tomorrow day.